Hi guys and welcome back to the fourth video in our Python programming tutorial series. So today's video we're gonna be talking about decisions. So we're gonna be using if, elif and else statements in Python. So before starting, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications bell. So let's get started. So pretty much I will give you a lay example on what these are. So we can do something like this. If condition equals true, then do this. Okay, so pretty much the syntax for the basic if statement, which is what we are going to cover first. So if you remember my last tutorial, I talked about conditions. If you haven't seen that, go back and look at that first because that's going to be an important part of today's lesson. You have to understand that. So if condition is true, then we're going to do this. Now, let's just dive into the syntax a little bit here. So you're going to start with the keyword if. Then we're going to put a condition. So the condition could be something like this. If 1 is less than 2, if Taha is equal to hello, something like that. Okay, so anything that can return a true or false value. You can use even variable names. You can say if x is equal to y, anything like that is a condition. And it uses a conditional operator like I talked about in the last video. And then you are going to end your condition with a colon like this. And then you're going to simply click enter and it should tab you in one line. Now it's very important that you have the indentation. If you have your code like this, it's not gonna work because Python reads the lines because of indentation, so it's very important that you have whatever statements you want to run after the condition returns true indented properly, and this will also be very important as we move further on in different tutorials, and we have lots of different indentation levels within the program. Okay, so let's do a real example. Now instead of this kind of pseudocode here, so we will start off by just getting some input from the user. So let's get their age. Okay, so age is equal to input like this, and then just if you put something inside of the input like this, it actually gives us a prompt to the user. So let's say input your age like that, and then we will say if the age is equal to 16, then we will print this to the screen. Hey, you're 16 like that. Okay, so alright, so let's go ahead and just test it our right way. I know I haven't really explained it, but I just want to show you how this works. Okay, so we have inputs your age, so I will say 2 as my age, and we can see that nothing happens. Okay, so now I'll show you one more. I hope you have caught this trick already from what I talked about in the last videos, but we will see now. You notice here I'm going to put in 16 and nothing is going to happen. Now the reason for that is because 16 here is different than the 16 that we get from age. If you remember, whenever we're getting number or anything from the console, we actually get it as a string. So this 16 that we're getting actually looks like this. Now in Python again, we have different data types, right? So this is an integer data type. Well, this is a string. So when we're comparing integers and strings, they are different. So we have to convert our age variable into an integer before we can compare it like that. Okay, so now we'll try again. So if integer of age equals 16, so now we put 16 in and says, hey, you're 16 like that. Okay, perfect. So that's pretty straightforward. Now we can also do some other conditions. So let's do a greater than 16 now. Okay, so this is another conditional operator that we talked about before. And yeah, I will go ahead, we'll try it now. So we will say 15 now, nothing happening because obviously 15 is not greater than 16. Now if we put in 17, it works. Okay, great. Alright, and also I just wanna show you there is another operator that we didn't talk about last time, a conditional operator, and it's greater than or equal to, and the less than or equal to. So to convert your greater than sign into greater than or equal to sign, all you have to do is add an equal sign like this, and now anything greater than or equal to 16 will work, whereas before it had to be strictly greater than 16. And same thing with the less than sign like that. Okay, I just forgot to talk about this in the other video, so I figured I would put it in here. Alright, great. So let's go into another example then. So let's say it's great, it's telling us we're 16, or let's, in this case, we're going to be older than this than 16, right? So hey, you're older than 16, but what if we want a message when we are younger than 16? Well, the way to do this is using something called an else statement. So the syntax for this, it simply has to come after an if statement. You can just leave your own else statement like this. That will not work. It has to be placed after an if statement, and then all you have to do is put a colon and click enter and make sure the indentation is the same as the indentation for the first if statement. Okay, so now we're just going to print you are younger than 16. Okay, and we can go ahead, we can try this to see if the else is going to work. And we say, for example, 15, and you are younger than 16. Great. Okay, so just to explain this a little more, how this really works when we're reading through the code. Well, Python reads code line by line, like this. Now, when it reaches this if statement, it checks this condition to see if it is true or false. So since this condition was false in the last example, we say if false, it says, okay, so we're going to return this line of code. We're going to skip to the else statement, and we're going to do this. Okay, so if we had typed anything and that does not return true, so makes this condition not return true, then it would go to this else statement like this. Okay, yeah, and then same thing, say we type in a number 17, that is greater than 16. It's not going to do the else statement, it's just going to do the if statement. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So for the rest of this video, we're gonna be talking about how to create extra branches in your if statements using elif. So right now I have read this code where we're checking if your age is over 20 years old to use an app. We can actually make another condition by pressing enter. So we're no longer indented and they say elif, and then we put another condition here. So let's say, if you're like a senior citizen, you get like a discount on our app, right? So I don't know, I think it's 65 when you're considered old, not sure. And then we'll say print and we'll say, hey, you get a special discount. Now the thing is, only one of this will be ever hit. So it's not the case that if someone is 75, that this is going to happen because it's true, and then this is going to happen because it's also true. Because there's this elif part, which is the short form of else if. So it's one or the other, and since the first one is going to be hit first, then that is always going to be hit. So let me show you what I mean. We run this, what your age, if we put in, like for example, A5, it says welcome to our app. So this past is true. It said welcome to our app. So the elif is short for else if, so only one will ever be executed. So what you can do is you can switch the positions of this. So we could take this one, cut it and move it to the top. I'll show you what I mean in a second. Just follow along here, paste that there, and then switch the elif to down here. All right, so now when we were on this, we put in 85 and it says you get a special discount. We're on it again and we say 30. It just says welcome to our app. So the order does matter. Now there's another option, and that is a catch all else statement. Now I call it a catch all because if we go through all of the if or elifs and none of them are true, the else will be hit, and it is optional, like I just showed you. The app worked fine, but if you want to say like, oh, you're not old enough, this is where you do it. So running this, we can try to put in a really low age such as 8. Run this and it says you're not old enough. Although this is always hit, so after the if statements, all of this together, you can just consider it as one giant block. Right now, we're using the greater than comparison operator. There are other ones, so let's say there's a free trial for those who have 20 years old exactly. So we can do this by adding an if statement right here at the top and turn this one to elif. Remember, the order is very important. So we will use the equivalent operator. You remember it from the last video. It is with two equal signs and not just one. And if it is true, if this condition is true, it will simply print congratulations, you have a free trial. Right, so let's try this out. Let's type in 20. Alright, that gave us congratulations, you have a free trial. Okay, so that's it for the if, elif, and else statements. In the next tutorial, we're going to go into something called chained conditionals and do some more advanced examples of this. We're gonna do some addition, subtraction, and some more things with other operators. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications bell, and see you in the next video.